case the audio doesn't work over here for some reason.
Okali.
All right. So today is October the 26th, 2024. It's 11:31 a.m. This is Vanessa Quinones with Angela Walton. I almost did say Quinones though.
Maiden name Quinones.
Yeah, she's the other Quinones here with me. So, I think for a while we've had bright ideas of trying to get together and trying to be more support for other people.
Yes.
And I guess while being support for ourselves, which we always have been. And that's kind of what we're trying to do.
Yes.
So, we've both been members of Church Unlimited for quite some time. And with the journeys that we've been on spiritually in our own lives, it feels like the right time to get a little more connected with the church.
Yeah.
To give back to them, to our communities, to ourselves. And I think that we have had this idea for a long time. We just didn't have direction. But I do know the other day, we were both in church at separate locations and we both received the same message. The day before we were just talking about, I want to do more in the community, I want to give back,
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
So.
Because God wants us to focus on others and not always ourselves and our problems, because our problems are small compared to all the other things that are going on in the world, and He needs us to not focus on ourselves and focus on others and supporting them and relating to them and sharing our experiences. Sometimes it's just to talk about it, because as we know, when we talk about it, it helps us also process it and feel whatever we're feeling on that, and we get another person's perspective, so it's even better because it helps us come up with the solution, or maybe not even a solution, but just like an okay, we know that God's handling it because we just discussed it.
And I think a lot of times we find that when we're talking with each other, and then we're like, oh, so God was already handling this, and we're sitting here with it inside and we're kind of overwhelmed with it, but talking about it with each other really allows us to see that His plan has already been in place. And I remember that Sunday sitting in church and just being like, wow, this is the conversation that we just had yesterday. So I know we've talked about the church and we haven't put it out there yet, but we both attend Church Unlimited in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Yes.
And that's where we're based out of right now. So Pastor Bill is the main pastor at that church. And I remember the first time I went there, it was a really like out of body experience at the church. I was not expecting to feel so welcomed and so at home the very first time that I entered those doors. But I was so glad. And I think that was probably about maybe 5 years ago. So 5 of those 2 years I have been in Austin, Texas, and I was still attending Church Unlimited online. Because
right.
I couldn't get enough of it,
you know,
right. And
we would talk about it.
Yes, I was so sad, like being away from it. But I know that in the church, you know, they're always talking about the life groups. They're always talking about all the things that they have going on and all the things that they have for you to volunteer.
Yeah.
And even though I've been with the church for all that time, I still haven't found like my place or what I want to do in the church where I feel comfortable being me, talking. And I think it was all just God's timing for both of us, kind of helping us to really work on ourselves.
Yeah.
So that we could be better for Him, for others, which is what the intentions are here for what we're doing, or what we're starting, or what we're trying to do. We don't know, but in that day in church, I remember that it was like, why don't you just start it, okay? So that another Sunday went by and another message was like, what are your excuses now? You keep making excuses after excuses after excuses, right? Like, I'm not good enough, or I can't do that, or I don't know if I can do that. And it was like, just start. So here we are, just starting, right?
Yeah, and I told you I'm not a planner, so I didn't really, I mean, my intention was to show up and do it because, yes, I agree with you that we have something that we can bring to a lot of women, a lot of families, a different perspective, and things that people may not have thought they were the only people to go through it, but then yet when you get a group of women together, it opens them up to open themselves up to sharing those experiences that they normally wouldn't share because they don't feel comfortable. But God says we're supposed to love everybody and we're supposed to love each other, and if that's the way that we're going to do it and that's the way that we have found that works, then we feel like it could work for other women who have been through some of the similar experiences, or maybe not the same, but just everybody has their own trauma, their own experiences, and their own upbringing. So we have to account for the things that we went through as kids and grew up and had to fight. And I think that's a big thing with us, is having to learn how to do that with parents who necessarily didn't teach us that way. So yeah, I think it's great.
I think in the age bracket that we're in, with the parents that we have in their age group, it wasn't a time that they talked about those things. They didn't have support systems, or they weren't even allowed to talk about it.
Yeah.
So we kind of spent this whole time in our lives like, all this stuff happened. We know what happened, but we don't really know what happened.
Yeah.
So now we're trying to, like, this whole adulthood, we're trying to put like our childhood together.
Yeah.
So now we're at this time in our lives where, okay, we've experienced some of the childhood now as an adult. Now can we experience adulthood as adults? And
right.
I think what we have found together is what Angela is saying, is like, we didn't even realize we had some of these similar experiences,
Yeah.
right? And so we're sitting here and we're talking about it and we're sharing with each other. And now we're like, okay, so we've done some of this work. God has helped us to get through all of that. Who else has been through this? Or what's the words I'm looking for? Who else has been through these things? Because I want to hear about them. Like,
Yeah.
I want them to speak them out loud.
Yeah.
Just, a 5-minute conversation between Angela and I can turn our whole day around.
Yeah.
It's
because
beautiful.
we always end up focusing in on God and His acceptance for us and His unconditional love. That a lot of people don't realize that we don't have to be perfect, just like everyone else says. You don't have to be perfect. You just gotta be. You just gotta be willing to work with what you have and apply it to the way that God wants us to live it in our lives. That's because that's the truth, and we're filled with lies every day, with social media, with TV, with how we were raised, with all of it. We've been programmed a certain way, and so now this is our time to learn the truth and apply it to our everyday life. Remember that, we're not always, and we are actually blessed, even though we've had some struggles, but yeah.
I think that without those struggles, I probably wouldn't have been here today. And so I can't compare my story to Angela's, and I can't compare my story to anybody else's. I just know that when I was young, I became a teen mom. That was like one struggle in its own. And just starting a whole new life with another life, I had no idea that was going to be the struggle that it was. And once you become a mom, like, it never stops. You're a mom until the day that you die.
Yep.
And so trying to navigate who I was as a teenager, trying to navigate things that I had been through, and then trying to navigate like how I'm supposed to be a good mom was definitely a struggle in its own. On top of everything that had already went on in life, and then all of the things that I was about to endure, I have always had faith. I've always had a relationship with God. I've always been able to come back to Him. Even if it was just a tiny little bit, I would just be like, what do I do here, God? Or why, God, why is this going on? Like, can you help me? And I think that the questions have definitely changed over time as far as what I'm asking God. And that came up in service also, when it was like, maybe you're asking the wrong questions.
Yeah.
Change the question. And so that has brought us where we're at today now, sitting down talking like, what do you want from us, God? What do you want from me?
Right.
Like, what can we do? And I have been in public service. I have been in public service since I was about 19 years old. Angela has been in the medical field for how long?
I've been a nurse since 2007, so it's been a long time.
And not only that, she's also a veteran. So we thank you for that service.
Thank you.
You're amazing. And go ahead.
I just feel like everybody's calling me all of a sudden. Like, the distractions are real. I already had 3 different callers in a matter of minutes, so it's just it's a distraction. So
you know what I think is cool? Is the weirdest thing? If this happens to anybody else, please let us know. But we'll be talking about something, and whatever it is that God does not want us to give time and energy to, the phone cuts out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The service goes away, or the phone will hang up on each other, and sometimes we're not even calling each other back. But when we do attempt to, it goes straight to voicemail. And then by the time we get back on the phone with each other, we can't even remember what we were talking about. So we pick up on something different, right?
Yeah.
So
there's always something.
There's always something.
Yeah.
Distractions, but also that's an intervention from God as to, hey, don't give time to that because you don't need to, right?
Yeah.
And so when we're talking about some of the stuff that we've done and some of the fields that we have been in, I guess the field that we have been in, a lot of the times you are not supposed to talk about maybe your feelings, emotions, your mental health. You're not allowed to bring up what you're feeling. You gotta go?
No, it's just...
You looked a little worried. I got nervous.
No, I'm missing a message really because I'm not sure what's going on.
And so as we're moving forward with whatever it is that we're starting and whatever it is that God is doing for us, I hope we can reach some other women, men, children, whoever it is that God wants us to reach, to help us to share with them that whatever it is that they're going through, whatever it is that's happened, just talk about it.
Yep.
Let it out. And try to plug your faith into whatever part that you can.
Yes. What? What? Yes.
I'm just gonna pop this open right here.
I'll be back in about 30 minutes. Okay, I gotta go. Huh? When we go to that place, yes. To go volunteer? I'll be there in like 30, I'm gonna leave in about 30 minutes. Go ask Daddy. Where's Daddy? To help with the flags. Okay, I gotta go. I'll be there in like 30 minutes. Okay, bye. I should have known who that was. Sorry, I was just like, why is it just like going and going and going?
It's okay.
That's funny.
I love love
It's
it.
always something.
It's always something. That's what we were talking about, though.
Motherhood.
Like, when you're a mommy, it never stops. Like, it always goes.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Sometimes you just have to do what you have to do.
Oh, yeah. I'm used to it. It's like every day, you know. But it's also a blessing to have a child. Your child trusts you, and that they can call you and cry to you or whatever else they need, and try not to make it seem like I do it a lot. I try to make it seem like it's not a big deal what she's asking for, but I have to remember that. So when I was young too, I remember people wouldn't listen to me, and so I know that's a big thing for us when people don't listen to us, right? Because we have to be heard. So if I'm addressing that and I'm hearing whatever she has to say, then it's better than her not being able to tell me. So we can turn it around at any time. Doesn't always have to be negative.
It's such a big deal that you say that, because even the smallest of things, the smallest of things that you can just pick up the phone and you can just say it to someone, especially to your mom, to who we are told that those are our protectors, that those are our best friends, our confidants, people that you're supposed to be able to talk to, and everybody has different parenting skills.
Yeah, I think our parents are also learning, even though they're older, it's just a different generation. I don't think they felt like they had to watch us as closely. So they didn't have to pay attention to us because maybe that's how they were raised. So that's a big part of therapy and learning, is that our parents also have trauma and they grow up, with their own issues, and they may have taken it out on us as kids, but they're older now, and now they realize that probably wasn't the best way to handle us back then. So it's a learning, that you can change your parenting. You don't have to be the parent that your parent was. You can do things different. You can, you have the authority to do it your way with your children, in respect to God, but also showing them God, but also just treating them right and treating them, not spanking on them all the time, taking your anger out, those are real.
That yelling, the aggressiveness, the threatening looks, even I could just remember some of those looks, you know. And I love my parents, both of them. They're great parents, yes, but parenting was extremely different from what I am experiencing now and what I experienced as a child. It was definitely different, and so my daughter at 25 is teaching me better parenting. Yeah, because being a mother at 16, and then my mom being a young grandma still, because if I was 16, well, my mom was young, right? Yeah. So it was because it was her second grandkid, but that's a whole other story. And just not knowing what I was doing, was I doing right? And I don't even think those were things I thought about. Yeah. From 16 to 20, I wasn't thinking am I a good mom? Am I being a good mom? Am I doing things right?
Just trying
Am
to
I
survive.
Going to scar my child? Now I'm I'm very cautious about how I respond to her or what I say to her. And a lot of that has been because I'm watching her as a mother the last 5 years, how she's treating her daughter, her son, how she's tending to them, how it's a lot more talking and patience, as opposed to just slamming that foot down or you're gonna do this. It's a control and that's it. You're gonna do this and there's no stray outside the lines. And it's definitely made me a better grandmother over the last 5 years. And not only that, I hope that it continues to make me a better mother, because I'm gonna be a mother until the day I die, but that relationship of daughter to mother, I really want that to blossom into something different.
Yeah.
Better than what she's had all of these years, you know?
Well, it doesn't matter as long as it happens. Even if we're just 60, no, I'm just joking, but yeah, I've seen you come a long way with your patience with her and just really cherishing that. And I feel like if you really want a relationship with someone and you really, especially your daughter, you know, you have to give them time and make them not feel like they're doing things wrong all the time. You know, you also have to lift them up too, not just be, you know, always down on them. And that's hard for me to do when my daughter's telling me that she hates me because of something that I have no control over. It's hard for me not to turn around and say, you know what, you just shut your mouth. You don't know what you're talking about. You're only this, you know, just like I was done when I was a kid. I was told, I was pinched, I was hit, I was done all kinds of things. So for me not to turn around and do that to my own child, even though I've been programmed to do it, it's very, how do you say, like, it's like a freedom, because you get to change the things that you want to change. Yeah, you do, because they're your children, and just because your parents raised you a certain way doesn't mean you have to do that to your children. You can always, you know, teach them better virtues, I guess I should say, like, you know, being kind and helping people and just, you know, just doing the right thing.
And I think I've seen that growth in you over the last just 3 years. Even the last year I was here before I moved to Austin, just watching you that last year, like, really change who you were. And that changed your parenting skills. Your patience got even bigger. Your relationship with the kids got even better. And that was extremely beautiful. Now, here I am back in Corpus Christi with you, and these 2 years that I was away, just watching you blossom in that area. You've become a lot more knowledgeable as to what you're doing. And now hearing you say that, like, oh, I get to choose on what I want to do. I get to choose how I'm going to treat them. It is, sometimes I'm on the phone with you and I'm hearing her like on level 10 talking, and you're just like, I'm not going to deal with that. Like, this is what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. And she's still like coming at you at level 10, and you're just like, okay, I'm done. Like, okay, that's what we're doing, and that's what we're doing. And I'm just like, wow, it is.
Sometimes we reach a level of maturity, even if it's 40s before you see it, but it'll happen. If you do something and try and work on it, and I always tell James that, you know, I'm always working on my relationship with my kids to always make it better, for us to get along, for us to be a family, for us to support each other, and just be really close-knit. So, getting to talk to them and just learning, hopefully we can keep this up until they're teenagers. Well, you know, Gavin's a teenager now, but he's pretty chilled out. But I was too, and that turned out to, I was very quiet, and then I turned out to be the wild one. So you never know. You never know what our kids are going to go through.
I don't even know why that, like, those words right there you just spoke, like, hit a nerve, because it was always like, not Vanessa, the quiet one, not Vanessa, the altar server, not Vanessa, like, the one they always brag about. And now it's like, what? You're pregnant and you're doing this and you're doing that, and now you're just this, like you said, the wild one, right?
Yeah.
So
we both know the wild side.
That's for sure. I think I definitely know all the sides.
Right.
And there's probably still more to come, like, definitely, and I'm okay with that.
I think they'll be calmer, though.
I have loved that Angela has brought the kids into church, and her husband and the family, her mama, you know, watching them in church together is so cute. It reminds me of when I was a kid going to church with my family, and we just took up the whole roll and we all sat there together.
Yeah.
And I always hoped that I would have that someday.
Yeah.
Right? Like me and my husband, and then me and my kids, and then here we are, like in this faith-filled house, and just God there first, So even though I have a little more untraditional family, you don't even know what traditional is nowadays, right? Everything's like so different. I just hope that my daughter has that relationship with God, and that she is able to turn to Him in any situation, because regardless of what trauma happened when I was young, I'm so thankful that God was introduced to me young,
Yeah.
Now here I am coming back to it stronger, better.
I said the same thing. I went from really a childhood I don't even really remember. I think it was that bad.
Same.
And then coming out of my mom, coming out of divorce from my mom, and her marrying a very religious man who did not have his own children, but he always wanted to, so he adopted us. And it was his way or the highway, and it was always about God. And in that it turned me away from God, because I was being forced to do the things of God, but yet at the same time I didn't realize that my mom had just been through the ringer, and she was in church because the Lord knew that she needed to go to church, and that she was single, and she had these 2 kids who were crazy. Me and my little sister always fighting and getting into stuff. And little do you know, some of the verses I read today, I memorized them when I was a kid in church at that time, when I hated my stepdad and I hated my mom so much. Because they wouldn't let me go hang out with my friends, so I would run away and do all these things. And now that I think about it, it's like, dang, you were really being trained for something. One day you were going to need to know these verses or whatnot. And they were ingrained in me, even though I fought it. So I guess just saying, I kind of realized, I was a kid, I hated, I went against it. I didn't know what was going on. But then now I realize today that my mom was actually trying to save herself and trying to save her family, us girls, and just the only way she knew how to do it was to go to church and to jump in. And so she became a Jesus freak. And then I was like, Mom, why are you always singing? Mom, why do we always have to go to church? Mom, so I grew up around that. But it was too late. So much had happened. So it's too much had happened, then life happened, and then all these experiences happened, and then more experiences happened. And little did I know, after going to the military and doing all the things that I did, that one day I would get back into it the way that I am now, which I never thought. And being baptized.
It's never too late.
Yeah, I think I was it a year or 2 ago, I got baptized, which was on my own terms. And then Vanessa was baptized recently too, so it's been quite the journey of finding our own faith and not our parents.
I was baptized in the Catholic Church when I was very young.
Yeah, me too.
A newborn. So. Yes, you were too. And so when I was gonna go through this, I remember calling my mom and this was my choice, and I was just I wanted to present it to you just because I was curious. I'm still gonna do it. Whatever you say, but I'm just curious. I was under your wing in the church with you for so long, but I've kind of found my own relationship with God. And honestly, I feel like being a part of Church Unlimited for so long, and then being at that church in Austin, it wasn't so much about oh, you're Catholic, oh, you're Catholic, yeah. Oh, you're Baptist, oh, whatever your religion is. It's more this relationship that I have. It's my relationship with God. When I go to Church Unlimited, I'm going because it's my relationship with God. I'm not going because I'm a Christian, I'm a Catholic, I'm a Baptist, I'm a Jew, I'm a Mormon. No, I'm going because I want to improve this relationship that I have, because I think, like, between you and I, if we didn't give our relationship the love that we give it, we wouldn't have the relationship that you and I have, right?
Yeah.
And so having that relationship with you is what has made me open my eyes, because to be like, I have to do that same thing in my relationship with God, you know.
We never know how we're going to influence someone.
And so many of the things that you went through that I was a part of in your life, even though I wasn't there, but I've been a part of your life, they've affected me, and they've affected how I want to be going forward better, you know. And so sometimes when we get together and we talk about the things that we went through, that's kind of what we would like to share with everybody else is, I jacked up. Yeah, I made a dumb mistake. Yeah, I did something stupid, but
same.
let me share it, because this could save your life. Like, this could help you before that gets there. This could bring you a little more knowledge about this situation, because who knows where you're going to go if you continue down the road that you're on.
Yeah, and you have to be able to call somebody and say, you know what, I know I need the help. I'm scared, but I need to go. And then you say, just go, just do it. You have my support, and that was all I needed to help me in that time of my life. So I appreciate it as well. And that's what we always do. We always end up making each other cry, and like, and then we're all like happy. So.
And I think that a lot of the tears that occur are an emotion that I never used to be able to feel.
Yeah, it's like a humble, appreciative.
Like, did I just speak that out loud and somebody was listening?
Yeah, that's exactly what. Because I've always wanted to, like, said I wanted to write a book or do something, a podcast, but I've never actually sat down and tried to do anything with it. So.
I've said for so long, like, all of this journaling, all this book, like, my whole book is in it. It's been like 10 years worth of writing that I've done. And then I tried some podcasting, then I tried some journaling, then I tried some online stuff. And it's like, I think God's like preparing me for whatever is to come, because I know that I want to speak. I know that I want to talk. And I don't necessarily have to talk about the specifics of where I came from, what happened, why I'm here, why I'm doing this, but I just want to talk, like, and I just feel like at this moment in my life that when I talk, like, it's God coming through. And trust me, I do not have it all together. I am not the perfect person, but
Same.
I have gotten to a point that I know that God doesn't want me to be perfect.
Nope.
But He does want me to keep talking. And He wants me to keep trying.
Yep.
And He wants me to keep doing. And I can't help but hear my dad's last words just telling me, like, get back to your roots, get back to your roots, get back to your roots. And I just was like, what does He want me to do? Like, what is he talking about? Like, what does He mean, get back to my roots? And it was like, to Him, those roots were the faith, you know?
Yeah.
And so finally we're sitting here, and finally we're talking, and finally we're doing something towards, we don't know what, but
we're just not using our excuses to keep us from doing what we said we were going to do.
It doesn't matter if we're tired, it doesn't matter if we're busy, it doesn't matter if we have a schedule. Like, if we look back at our call log, we've been on the phone for an hour, right?
Yeah, we're on the phone a lot.
So there isn't any reason why those conversations cannot get out there and help somebody else. Exactly. How many times have we shared podcasts with each other? How many times have we shared sermons with each other? How many times have we been like, oh my gosh, I just heard this great song or this great write or book or quote, you know? But let's be that for others.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, like, wherever we're going, whatever we're doing, you know,
it could be bigger than we ever know. We never know what this could come out to be. And maybe this is what we needed, just to start and put it out there, work on it, I mean, we don't have a lot to work on because it's pretty good, if you ask me. It's just the people that we need to help, God will send them. And so we're not going to worry about the ifs and whats and whens and wheres. We're just going to trust that it's going to be done.
You know, I remember I was a 911 dispatcher for such a long time, and I loved that job so much. And then I met this person, and then we got married, and it was such a great time in my life, and we had built this beautiful home. At least I thought so. For maybe it was for a year, and then 10 years went by, and then it just took this like totally crazy turn that I did not ever expect. And then, you know, it forced me to have to choose, like, am I going to stay working here or am I going to leave? Because if I stay working here, then he and I both are going to lose because we're going to be working in the same places. We're going to lose our jobs. We're going to lose our licenses. I don't know. Or I could just leave and I could just walk away. And then he can just do whatever he's going to do. And then I'm just going to do whatever I'm going to do. And ever since that day, like, I've always regretted just walking away. But then at the same time, I was so glad that I chose to walk away, because I don't think that now, at the point that I'm at in my relationship with God, that I could ever feel good if he would have lost what he loves so much. And I loved that job so much, and I still love that job, and I still love that field, but I chose to allow him to keep what he loves, and I walk away from what I love. And so the reason I'm telling you all that is because there's these times that you're going to come in your life that you're going to have to make these tough choices. And sometimes you don't have like a support system to help you through it. And even though it's like, I'm making this choice, I made the choice, I'm going through with it, you don't have anybody to talk to about it. And so I always said that when I left 911 and I made that decision on that day, I was always going to create a support group for dispatchers. I was going to create a support group for first responders. I was going to create a union for the dispatchers, because they never had anybody on their side. No matter what happened, no matter what went through, no matter, like, people don't understand, like, when you're in that field, you make decisions in your personal life. Sometimes it can affect your job, but sometimes your job can affect you making your personal decisions. Yeah. And sometimes you need to be able to talk about that, so that way you could save your job, save your personal life, and you could still do them both very well, very healthy. And so, you know, what I would like to do is to talk to all of those people that God sends our way, that I know he's going to send, that need us. Yeah. Like, I don't know how we'll find the right help, you know, if you are in that position the way that I was in ever one day, but I'll help you. We'll figure it out together, so that you're not alone, so that you're not forced to have to choose between something that you love and something that you know is right, even though it's like, I don't know. I just know whatever God's doing, he's doing it, and hopefully that will get to somebody one day.
It will. We're handling things better. I didn't see the day where I would get fired from my job and I would not be upset. I mean, it was like God knew I needed a change. He was like, oh, she's getting bored, she's getting complacent, she's getting, you know, and this is not where I think they noticed it, and I think God did too. He was like, okay, it's time to move you again. And I know how to move around. So sometimes you have a better opportunity. He's going to, you know, give you a better job. maybe better people to be around. You just never know. But I can say that this is the first time that I've never really argued with anyone when they fired me. Because I've been known to cuss an employer out and because of what I don't like and be ugly, and this time I've allowed myself to just, you know what? It's for the best. This is happening for a reason. I'm gonna find another job. I'm a nurse. I can find 10,000 jobs. So what I plan to do is just enjoy my month and see where this takes us, and I want to focus on it a lot more, actually, because I was writing a lot too before, and I stopped. So maybe this will be time for me to focus on something else besides just working. You know, like we talked about that, working at a business versus working at home and doing your own type of scheduling, and, you know, working by yourself, which is another amazing thing that you can do for yourself, is to work from home or work in a job that gives you a little more independence.
And that independence is like, even when you're working, you feel independent because you're doing something that you want to do. And so I am in public service still, and so I know that I am a public servant. I get that, but I have always wanted to switch it into something that I can't wait to.
Yeah, me too.
Do this.
Yeah, like this. Can we do this full time all day?
And just to think that we could do that.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
It's something that I have tried in different genres.
Yeah, we've been trying to go there, and we just
hasn't worked, you know. And it's like,
maybe it was just a point of me and you like getting to a certain point, because our relationship, when I came over here, we were still drinking a lot and doing our own things, so it took a while for us to get to this point. But even if, you know, for something comes up, you know, where one of us moves or whatever, we're always in touch, you know, and we know how to keep that relationship even on the phone and whatnot. So
we proved that over the last 2 years.
And we can do that no matter what happens with our journey, you know, because we both have the moving around bug. Especially my husband has a big moving around. He likes to move a lot, and I guess I'm the same. I like to change up stuff a lot, and I would like to do my own thing for once and not have to work under a company and just be.
If I'm gonna work under the man, can I work under the man?
Yeah.
Like literally, right?
Yeah.
Why does the man have to be like 8 to 5 Monday through Friday?
But we weren't meant to do that.
I honestly, this is the first time I have ever worked Monday through Friday 8 to 5. In my whole entire life, I've never worked that type of schedule. I've always been nights, overnights, 12-hour shifts, 14-hour shifts, 16-hour shifts sometimes.
True.
And so
Same.
I feel like all of that was preparing me that for what we could do, because this could take 12-hour shifts, 14-hour shifts, 16-hour shifts, 24-hour shifts. But if I'm doing something that I love doing.
And we both love social media too,
Yes.
so we have that common ground. But I think we just needed maybe the partnership and just kind of us both being in that spot, in that place to share it, because I think my spirituality was not as great as it has been, you know, like over this past year. Actually, it's gotten better, and I'm still working on it. And that's the thing, you don't have to be perfect. You can just, God's going to do whatever he's going to do with you in the process, and he's going to teach you lessons, and he's going to show you things. So
I always hear all these podcasts of like women that have, I heard one at the gym the other day, and they were like, oh, for people or for women that have ADHD, created by women who have ADHD. I'm like, I need to listen to that podcast, right? And I want to listen to that. And then another one was like, MAD, the Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. And then I was like, I listened to that podcast for a little bit, and then I was just like, oh, wow, like, their stories, you know?
Yeah.
Their stories.
They are.
I was just like, I don't want to be a drunk driver. I don't want to be
Oh yeah, true.
You know,
things that they've gone through.
Yeah, like I don't want to be a drunk driver because I don't want to like take somebody's baby, you know. And
Same.
I was just listening to those stories, and then I was listening to another one, and it was about. They were just random different podcasts that I were listening to. Then I heard like a Latina leadership podcast. You actually turned me on to that one, and that is when I was just like, I want to do this. Like, I don't know why and I don't know how, but I just want to talk. I just want to talk. And can I do that in a good, healthy way with God on my side, helping me to figure out the audience and the people that I can reach and touch? Like, can I do this? Why not?
Yeah, it's a part of your healing journey when you get to the point where you don't have to be the victim and wallow in your shame and keep yourself from going. You know, we both know that, and that's something that we both have those qualities, is to always work and always, you know, be that woman, you know, the girl who came to show y'all who we are, you know. I don't know how to say it in a better word, but like a woman boss, you know. And that takes a lot of backbone. Not everyone can do it. Not everyone has the power to speak either. Not everyone can open up to anyone and talk like we can, and so I think that's a good thing for us, is
something that our dads have always been so good at doing.
Yeah, they talk a lot.
And they can talk about anything.
Yeah.
And they're so intelligent, and they have like a response for everything.
Yeah.
Even if it's not always the nicest, cleanest, most reformed response, they're so intelligent that I see that quality in them, in us.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful that we have that.
I like that one time we talked and I was like, well, I don't have a solution for you. And you said, I'm not looking for a solution. I'm just telling you about it. And I was like, oh, okay. I always think I have the solution for everything.
Oh my gosh, I remember saying, I was like, you don't have to say anything. I just was trying to tell you what was going on.
Yeah, and I was in my head trying to figure out her whole situation. And I was like, because that's just the kind of person that I am. I'm going to throw out whatever kind of solutions that I may have or that comes in my mind.
That's the nurse in her right there,
yeah.
girl.
Yeah, as nurses, we figure out what works and we stick with it. So, if we know this is working for us, it's got to work for other people. We're just giving up our excuses. Like the pastor said.
I know. That was like all I needed to hear from him. Mm-hmm. That was all I needed to hear. You have something else you want to add in there?
No, I don't think so. I think we're good. Something that I want to work on also is just, I found this content creator who has studied the Bible so well that she can basically tell you back the Bible in a positive way while she's praising God. She's just spitting out scriptures, but the way she does it, she's very humble and she's very, I don't know, I can't explain it, but it's really like touched my heart. And when I see that in someone, it's like, wow, they know the truth. They've studied it so much, and that's exactly what we need to do. We need to know the truth, because in all of our situations that we deal with, we're going to have some kind of truth to what we're speaking about. So I think that in this journey, that would be another good thing for us to do.
I love that you say that, because when I was going through this, tough spat with my daughter, and I talked to Pastor Bill, and he's like, you want to help your relationship? You want to help your daughter get through grieving? You want to help yourself? You want to help things get better? He said, memorize scriptures, memorize verses from the Bible, so that when she comes to you, when she's going through something, you just spit her that verse, spit her that scripture,
Yep.
and that's what's going to help her. And you don't have the words to say. You don't know what to say because you're in the same boat as your daughter. You're grieving like your daughter. Y'all both don't know what's going on in each other's lives. I promise you, when she comes back to you, give her those scriptures. Give her those verses. He says, that is going to be what's going to help. He's like, because you don't have to know the words, but he knows them.
Yep.
And it's so crazy that you say that, because being back around my daughter and working on our relationship, that is something that has just stuck.
Yep.
Stuck. So when I'm in service and he is talking, I always try to write those different verses down. And there's so many, because every Sunday it's different, you know? But even if there's just a few of them, and it's just that handful that I have, like...
Or maybe the things that you need to work on, you know? So, it could just be something that you're going through at that time, and you may want to freshen up your knowledge and be able to fight those negative thoughts and whatever may come up around you, because the devil's going to use people around you to usually attack you, and then your mind. So if we can have that thought, oh, you know, let's just use weight for example. I'm fat. You know, you say, I'm beautiful, I'm wonderfully made. You know, I am the child of God. I am, you know, all these things, and we just start saying them, you know, because you know them from the Bible. So that's one of my goals too for this.
I think we had shared something with each other, and it was like anxiety, anger.
Yeah. Yeah, because on the Bible app, if you go and you type in a topic, it will bring up every single verse that applies to it. So, like, if you type in anxiety, it's going to bring up all the verses on anxiety in the Bible. If you bring up addiction, it's going to bring up all these verses. If you bring up whatever your problem is or wherever you're struggling, you can go and search that topic and get all the verses, and you should go through and read them and see what God says about it, because that's where the truth is. And it's not in the movies, it's not in the music videos, it's not in all of that, it's in the Bible. So I think that would be a good thing for us to learn as well. So when we come across that situation, when somebody says, hey, I feel like dying, you know, you never know, I feel suicidal, whatever, you know, these thoughts are from the devil, these are not true, you know, we know the truth, you know, and we can be there to remind them, like, he's going to come after your mind first. That's the first place, and just because it comes in your mind doesn't mean it's true. And, you know, and so then we go into, like, things that we've learned in therapy, so we can do a lot with it.
I'm just taken back, because I'm thinking about everything that I've, like, done up until this point, like the jobs that I've held and the experiences, and then the things that you're saying is like, the word suicide is always something for me, because I've taken those calls where people are talking about it and they've actually done it in my ear.
Yeah.
And so I just remember at times, like, they didn't train us, right?
Yeah.
There's no training to talk to somebody who's going to do that.
Yeah, it's really...
You can just try to get where they're at. You can just try to get their understanding. And from my point on the phone, all I could do was try to find their location, whether it's because they gave it to me or I was trying to ping it on the cell tower. And to really get into the word and to learn about the scriptures that will help me to talk to somebody who is feeling that way, I think.
Yeah, I think so for me too. Like, I think that's what I'm lacking. Because I can tell you in my own way, but I think, you know, we need to really use our scriptures and start really using that as a weapon.
A lot more than probably what we've have.
Yeah.
Because I know that we have already, because we're remembering things that are being said.
Yeah.
But I think this is a great time for us to really...
Yeah, to use some of those scriptures, and maybe just take a day and where we're thinking and just write the thoughts down, and we can go and look them up in the Bible, like, and we can start there, maybe, like, just pick something, like, just for the next day or so, just kind of think about where your mind goes.
This is like our journaling, right?
Yeah, like journaling.
Whatever has happened in that time that we're journaling, it's a good way to look up how to correlate the scriptures to whatever we're journaling.
Yeah, and see what kind of insight it gives us once we go there, because I'm pretty sure it's going to answer whatever
because like
question.
you had just said that you were stuck in the book of Exodus, right? Mm-hmm. And then somebody else was just telling me they just finished the book of Matthew. Mm-hmm. And so I jump all over the Bible, like the way that you said how you stop one thing and then something else comes up and then you go through here, or if I hear somebody else talking about a certain book, I like to go to that, you know.
Yeah, I've written so many notes too over the past couple years, and just putting them together.
That's a way for us to get the messages that God is trying to give us by whatever we're journaling. And then we could convert that into what we are going to talk about, right?
Well, people talk about all kinds of things, you know, and it's like, if they can do that, then we can do this. God will give you the visions. It might be fuzzy. He won't give us all the details. And then on the sermon, he says, when you say I'm not enough, you're saying you're inadequate. You're comparing yourself, when the truth is you already are enough, because God already gave you everything that you're supposed to have. It's built in you. You've been through situations to teach you lessons, so you already have them. And then like this one, what if blank happens? Well, we could say, well, with God, you know, we are always successful or whatnot, you know, like just little things like that. Maybe that's a good.
Like, what did I write the other day? And it came from that service when I wrote it online, and I was like, God doesn't prepare the called.
Oh yeah.
What did I write?
Yeah, he did say something about that.
He's like
he
calls the
unprepared or yeah, I know what you're saying. Like,
let me see. I can't go to my page now because it's on my phone. But
I'm thinking about it too. I know what you're talking about.
Let me see.
But yeah, it's.
Oh no, that's not on the internet. I can't go to that.
He calls you and then he equips you. Basically, is what they were saying. Like,
that's what he was talking about. Like,
and that really is how it is.
Yes, like he's not going to.
You're gonna be just thrown out to the wolves, and you're gonna learn it because he's gonna be there.
Let me
to
see.
teach you.
I'm just gonna look it up real quick. Hold on a moment.